Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Wednesday. It's July the 17th. This will be our chart lesson for today. I'm done a little early today. I've got some things I've got to do this afternoon, so I'm going to leave early today. So I'm doing the chart lesson a little before noon. But we've had a good bit of price action, some good movement, some good volume today. It got a little iffy right in here early on, and I got a little concerned about, whether this was going to end up just being a real tight range today. But turned out we got some good down movement, so some good trades, and then we've had a good move on the way back up. And depending on when you started this morning, I usually try to start around 7 or so not a lot going on early. But I'll show you what I saw. And notice this blue line right across here. If you go back, this was just the high points from yesterday. And there it comes again, the previous day's highs and lows. And this bounce right here was basically, um, see if I can tighten it up a little where you can see it, is basically the highs of yesterday afternoon. If you put this crosshair on there, you can see where we bounced right across there, the highs of yesterday afternoon. And the highs of the day are the highs of yesterday, basically total. So it's all important stuff. And if you look here, this was acting as support, and then once it got below it, it tried to act as resistance. You see, we've broken through there a little bit now. Will we get back above it? It's hard to say, but make sure you understand that, the importance of those highs and lows. Another trader reminded me that I wasn't talking about it much lately, and I didn't realize that I wasn't, so I'm trying to point that out because they are important positions, and prices tend to migrate towards them, reverse at them, and so forth. If they were acting as resistance, they tend to act as support when prices come back to them, and if they were acting as support, prices tend to act as resistance when they come back to them. So just keep that in mind. One other thing, housekeeping thing I wanted to mention, there's a gentleman that's been sending me some emails by the name of Mark. I don't want to say his whole name, but if you're listening, you'll know you sent me a couple of emails. I've responded, and you keep you've written me back saying you didn't get anything from me. Did I get the first one? Well, I'm getting them, and I'm responding, but they keep coming back as non-deliverable to that email address. So I don't know if there's something wrong in your email address, or if there's some reason it's blocking. It's kind of an odd email address with with a word that starts with a Z in there. So I'm trying not to give your identification out, but if you're watching, you'll know who you are most likely, and just understand that there's something wrong with that email address. That all of my emails that I'm sending you, I've sent you a couple, and they just keep coming back. They're actually not coming back as undeliverable. They're coming back saying there's a delay in delivering them, and they will continue to try. But obviously, there's some kind of issue with your email address. So send me a different email address. And it's not that I'm not responding to you. I'm just not able to get them through for whatever reason. And I'm not having that problem with any other emails, just that particular one. So maybe they're going into some kind of spam account on your with your hosting service or whatever. But anyway, I'm not able to get them out to you. So sorry to bug everybody else with that, but I just wanted this gentleman to understand I'm not ignoring him. I just can't get anything out to him. So it's one thing that I always do is answer emails. So if you ever send me an email and you haven't heard back from me usually within a few hours, but my target is to answer all emails within 24 hours. And so if you hadn't heard from me within 48 hours, unless I'm on vacation, something's wrong. So try something different. Either I'm not getting your email or I can't get a response back to you. So anyway, let's talk about the chart lesson today. So I want to wrap this up and get out of here by lunchtime today. But anyway, we had a nice trend, real clear. You can see you draw it off the lows. I drew it off the first two swings using the closing. You can see that was it all the way up. You copy that and drag it up. It fits perfectly on the upper side. You see the bounce right here. There was actually a failed second entry short right right. Actually, it's right here. It's similar to it right here, but I think you need the tick lower, and I think you want to bounce off the trend line. Notice the new low here. You're coming up first entry short, pull back second entry short. It fails and bounces right off that trend line. You're going long at the close, near the high of the day, but that's not uncommon on a strong trend, and you can see that's a strong trend. I like going long right there. It comes back. I like going long. There's just there's if you go long on this with a stop, there's just enough room if it makes a new high to get out. So I suggest that you use a limit order here to make sure you got room to get out before you actually get to the high. And you could have gotten filled to tick back into this bar. You can see it went higher and then it comes back. So you could have gotten, I know you could have gotten, this is really right on the verge of being green or blue. And the reason I made it green is just so I wouldn't forget to talk about the fact that you really needed a limit order due to the limited space of getting out, because the odds are it runs up here and it makes a new tick. There's a good chance it could go much higher, but you can't risk that, especially the way the market's been lately. Almost every day lately, we get a big move up in the early part. We get a break and just a tick or so new high or a double top, and then we start trending down. And you can see that today. You can see we kind of had that similar thing happen yesterday. Here's the day prior. We're trending up, and then it flattens out. Let's see. We did the same thing here, a small trend up, and then it starts going down. This was the big trend day. So you can see that's kind of been the MO lately. So you got to be real careful once you get a trend line break about going high again. So you want to make sure you got room to get out before you reach those highs. That's basically the story I'm trying to tell you there. We made a new high and we start trending down. You get a failed second entry long right here. There's some strong support. But generally these traps, you don't have a lot of, we actually went lower here than right here, and it's bouncing. So you don't have a lot of price action to tell you whether we're working down or working up. So I think this one's, the fact that it's a trap, we didn't get much bounce off the EMA. We got below it, we come back. It's a failed second entry long. You're probably going to get a scalp out of that. It does bounce again, but it turns down right off the trend line again. I drew it off those first two swings there, and it's a big bearish bar, so I liked going short on that one as well. You get just enough to get your scalp, and then it bounces. And then I drew the trend line. Actually, I drew it off these lows and drug it up, and of course we turned down right there, but I don't trust that without a good setup, so I'm going to wait on the second entry. But then we went into all that overlap, and so this is when it got concerning that, hey, we may end up in another one of these tight ranges today. So just kind of sit tight. Don't trade out of that. Notice that it turns down. And if it would have went straight on out there, I was ready to go short, but it doesn't. It just keeps stacking up. So again, this is kind of, you drag that on, it's kind of no man's land. Just sit tight there. Don't take any trades. You get the break lower. So then it turns into a breakout pullback short. And you got a couple of clear, and it's right off that trend line again. So I really liked going short there, even though that's not a bearish bar. That's a breakout pullback short. And if it turns down again, we're probably moving on down to the next level. And it does. It shoots right on down and bounces right off that low. And then you get a little channel working up. You do get a break here, a couple of moves up to a new high. It was tempting to go short right there, but I think you're better off to wait for a trap. So it turns up, gets a new high, then you get a double top, and then you get the failed second entry short right here, and it's almost a kind of a repeat pattern as to over here, except you don't get all the overlap, and you run down. And you did get a trend line break here, and you are looking for a retest of the low. And it runs down, makes a new low, and we've been trending up ever since. And we do now finally have a break. And guess where we finally got resistance and got the break? Right where the previous support was, which was the highs of the previous day, right over there. So good trading day. I was, like I said, I was done early. I got a little concerned right here that we were going to have a real slow day, but it all worked out in the end, and we got some good movement. And notice that this is just a little trading range, and this is a breakout pullback short right off the EMA, right off the trend line. You got lots of resistance right there at your back. And it might have been, it was real tempting to go short right here, but it would have bounced on you first. So, and that's generally what happens. So that's why I'm always saying you got to be real careful um, going short out of this stuff. So, but turned out to be a really good trading day in the end. And I knew I was leaving early, so I tried to get it all in as much as I could on the good trades I saw, and it worked out today. So hopefully you're able to do the same, and you end up with a good trading day. And if you don't, just come back and try to do it again tomorrow. Now on the way up, I would say this still looks like a trading range, very similar. If we get through here and continue to go higher, I would look for a possible measured move. If we work higher, I would look for a measured move of that move right there from here up, and that would give us a new high and put us up around 1980, 81 area. Um, I don't know if that will happen, but that's what I would be looking for if we continue higher. The odds are we may just end up within this range that we've got going here, and we may not go much higher. We may not even get back above this important level right here. So it's yet to be seen, because we do have a break of this little channel here. It could be a two-tiered channel now, because this is really strong. So it could be a two-tiered channel, or we may flatten out and get a more natural channel. It may be like a spike in channel. So it's just still too early to tell. I'd be shocked if prices don't work back to the EMA before they go higher, but we'll see. Um, So that's what I saw today. Not a whole lot of trades, but enough there that you could still have a good day. You only need 2 or 3 really, good moves to, especially if you can catch a runner, to make some money on days like, any day. Uh, so keep that in mind. People think that you got to sit here and take trades all day. That's not the case. One other thing I wanted to share, I shared a chart, I believe it was yesterday, of a trader, and he sent me another email today. And felt excited that I showed his chart and it validated what he was seeing. And he sent me another one today, and I'll share this with you. He got to talk. He actually drew his trend line right here, and he was hoping that he'd get another short down. Uh, most people, including myself, were looking for prices to retest this area right here. We didn't quite get there. At least we haven't yet. We could end up there. But the interesting thing was, he said, I drew my trend line. He said, I kept waiting for a break and then a retest. He says I never got a short out of it, but guess what? I didn't get tricked to the short side like several people obviously did, and so I didn't have any losses. And so by following the short-term trend line rules, here's another one right here. It's working up. You get the break, you get the retest a couple of times. So you know not to go long until that happens, or short. I'm sorry. You know not to go short until that happens. And so sometimes you'll miss one. It'll go without you. Sometimes you'll draw your trend line a little wrong, but as you get more experience with this, you'll get better at it. And and he actually drew his chart a little bit differently here. It's real close to what I have, but it's a little bit different. And he noticed that we didn't reach, if I draw this all the way down here, he noticed we didn't reach the low yet. And that's why he was thinking we may make one more push lower. And that's exactly what you want to be thinking. But you also have to be concerned about the fact that if we didn't get down there, notice we didn't quite get there here. It's close enough. Maybe my line's off just a hair. It's close enough. But the fact that you don't get down to here is telling you something even more important. Either we're going to push one more leg down for a second leg down after the break, or this thing is gaining momentum to the upside and losing momentum to the downside, and we're going to reverse and get a bigger correction. And that's exactly what happened. And here's another clue. Notice when prices came back to the EMA. Let me show you something here. Generally on a good trend, when prices come back to the EMA, look what happens. It gets rejected off of it. Even though we're still stacking up here, every time it touches it, it tries to go lower. And look what happens when it comes back this time. It barely gets rejected and it gets through. And then it comes back here again, it gets rejected. But when it comes back this time, it's not really, it's not getting through there, but it's not really getting rejected. That is a strong clue that don't be looking for any shorts right in here. Notice how they start stacking up. It's getting congestion there because a lot of people are not paying attention and they're selling the EMA. They know that's where to sell, but they don't understand price action, so they don't understand that there's some strong buying, and that's the reason you don't get any rejection off of it. Most of the time when prices come back to the EMA, and you're going to get a good trade off of it. So here's another one where you came back off a low and you're not really getting rejection. Look what happened when prices pull back here. They get rejected off that thing. Um, Look what happens here. They found some, didn't get a whole lot of rejection until it started to go lower, and then it got strong rejection off of it. And that's you look when it pulled back here, I get strong rejection to the upside. And that's what you want to see. And when it's on both sides like that, you know what that means. Um, but look how it bounced right there. Look how it bounced right there. Working both sides again here. Look how it turned down real quickly there. Look how it turned down right there first, and then you get the quicker. Notice you don't get any bounce right there really. It's kind of it's not really rejecting it real strongly. Look at that bounce, how it rejected prices. Here's another one, rejected prices. Look right here how it rejected prices. So when you don't get rejection off that line, it's telling you something, and that's what the point I'm trying to make. And when you came back right here, just hanging around right there, that's acceptance of prices at that level, not rejection. And you want to see rejection for the most part. Doesn't mean that it won't eventually, the sellers won't win over and it won't bounce and turn down, but that's just a clue, especially if you got no break close outside your trend line. Look how every close is inside that trend line till right there. Now I would look for a retest, and maybe there's even a two-tiered channel. So you don't want to go short until you know you're reading it right, and you got a clear move back to the downside. Just like there's not really a good. The first long I would have probably taken. This is actually two legs up and a failure. You might have thought about going long there, but when it kind of pulled back again off the trend line, that would have been the first place that and that's like a breakout pullback long. That would have been the first decent long, and I would, and even then it's suspect because you've moved so far and you're way away from the EMA. Now you're working back and you see it's still going lower. So I'm guessing that this is not a two-tiered channel, although it could be. I'm guessing you're going to get a correction here. This may be because of this area right here, you may not get a new high on a retest. I would think after a move like that, you're going to get a retest attempt with a new high, but we'll just have to play it out and see. There's no setups there still to this point, so you're just sitting and watching until prices give you some kind of trap or reason to go long or short again. So hope that's clear. I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you had a good week, and we'll be back to do it again tomorrow. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.